You have been loyal, not performatively loyal, genuinely loyal. You stayed through the restructures. You absorbed extra responsibility when the headcount froze. You turned down conversations with recruiters because leaving felt like a betrayal of something real. The relationships, the institutional knowledge, the identity you built inside that organization. And every year, you received your raise. 3%, maybe 4%, once, in a strong cycle. 5%, you told yourself it was adding up. It was not adding up. Somewhere across town, someone with your title, your experience, and roughly your skill set just accepted an offer from a new employer. The salary was 30% higher than what you currently earn. They did not work harder than you. They simply moved. I am Jackson, and today I am showing you exactly why the system rewards movement and quietly taxes loyalty and what to do about it. Picture someone, 5 years at the same company, strong reviews, consistently. The kind of employee whose name comes up when a difficult problem needs solving not because they volunteered loudly, but because their track record made them the obvious answer. Raises come every year. The percentage always sounded reasonable in the room. Then a recruiter reaches out. This person almost ignores it. Loyalty is a habit, and habits are comfortable. But something about the message is specific enough to read fully. The role is described. The salary range is listed. The number is $40,000 more than the current salary. Not a fantasy number. Not a stretch role. The same function, same industry, similar scope, just a different organization that has to compete on price to attract external talent because it cannot rely on the accumulated inertia of an existing employee. This person does not take the call, closes the message, going back to work. 6 months later, a colleague who joined the team 18 months ago, less experienced, still building context, receives a market adjustment that brings their salary to within $8,000 of this person's current figure. The question that arrives, slowly and then all at once, is this: was any of this fair? That is the wrong question. Fairness is not the operating principle of the system. The operating principle is leverage, and loyalty, by design, eliminates yours. Here is what is structurally producing this outcome. 4 mechanisms, each one deliberate. Reason number 1, the salary anchor compounds against you. When you accepted your original offer, you accepted a number. That number was not calculated based on your full market value. It was calculated based on what was sufficient to get you through the door at that moment in time, anchored to whatever you were earning before. Every raise since then has been a percentage of that original anchor. 3% of an underpriced number is still an underpriced number. The math is compounding, but it is compounding in the wrong direction. Meanwhile, every new hire the organization brings in must be priced against the current external market. Not your historical anchor, the actual market, which means the gap between your salary and an equivalent external hire's salary widens automatically, year after year, without anyone making a deliberate decision to underpay you. The system does not need to choose to underpay you. It just needs to keep calculating raises the same way it always has. Reason number 2, retention budgets and acquisition budgets are separate systems. Inside most organizations, the budget allocated to retaining existing employees and the budget allocated to acquiring new ones are managed completely separately, often by different teams with different approval chains and different incentive structures. Recruiting has a mandate to close competitive offers. That mandate comes with budget flexibility. Compensation management has a mandate to control payroll cost growth. That mandate comes with percentage caps. This means the organization is often structurally capable of paying a new external hire significantly more than it is capable of paying an existing employee in an equivalent role, not because of intent, but because of architecture. The two budgets never sit in the same room at the same time. Your loyalty is being managed by a system that was never designed to reward it, only to rely on it. Reason 3, switching signals, market value. Staying signals, acceptance. When an employee stays at an organization through multiple compensation cycles without leaving, the organization receives a signal, not a conscious one, a structural one. The signal reads, "This person's threshold has not been crossed. The current compensation is sufficient to retain them. That signal reduces the urgency of a correction. An employee who has never tested the market, who has never created the credible possibility of departure, has handed the organization a data point that consistently works against their own interests. Conversely, an employee who moves externally resets their anchor completely. The new employer prices them against the current market, with no historical anchor attached. The offer is built to compete, not to inch forward from a number that was set years ago under different conditions. Switching jobs is not disloyalty. It is the only mechanism the system responds to. Reason number 4. The loyalty premium is a myth. Employees built and organizations accepted. There is a belief, widely held and almost never examined, that staying at an organization for multiple years builds a form of credit, that the accumulated tenure, institutional knowledge, and demonstrated reliability will eventually be recognized in compensation. Organizations do not have a mechanism for that recognition. There is no institutional memory that tracks how many restructures you absorbed, how many times you stayed when leaving was possible, how much organizational context you carry that would take years to rebuild in someone else. That knowledge is valued in the day-to-day operation of the team. It is not valued in the compensation review spreadsheet. The loyalty premium exists in the culture. It does not exist in the budget. You built the loyalty premium yourself. The organization accepted it for free. Here is what compounding looks like over a decade. An employee who stays at the same organization for 10 years, receiving 3 to 4% annually, starting from an anchored original offer, will typically end that period earning significantly below the market rate for their current skill level. The gap widens every year, not dramatically, not visibly from the inside, but structurally and without exception. The employee who moves every 3 to 4 years, resetting their anchor to market each time, compounds differently. Same industry, same functional role. The salary trajectory over the same 10-year period is not marginally better. Studies of compensation data consistently show the differential reaching 6 figures over a career, not because the mobile employee worked harder, but because they engaged with the market repeatedly instead of opting out of it permanently. And the cost is not only financial. Every year of salary compression is a year of reduced savings rate, reduced investment capacity, reduced optionality. The gap between the two trajectories is not just income, it is the compounded growth of everything that income could have become. The most expensive financial decision most people make is not a bad investment. It is staying too long at the wrong salary. Here is the new frame. Your employment is not a relationship governed by loyalty. It is a market transaction, one that both parties are continuously repricing based on available information. The organization reprises its budget every cycle based on market data. Most employees never reprice themselves. Engaging with the market is not a betrayal of the organization. It is participation in the same mechanism the organization uses to set every other cost it manages. Treating it as anything else is a decision that costs real money every month, silently. 3 moves, each one executable this week. Move 1. Price yourself externally every 6 months with offers, not estimates. Salary aggregator websites give you a range. An actual offer gives you a number. Take 2 to 3 recruiter conversations per year, not as a commitment to leave, but as a market calibration exercise. An offer letter is a data point. It tells you what the current market will pay for your specific profile, your specific experience, your specific skill set. That data point belongs in every compensation conversation you have internally. Move 2. Use external market data as the language of every conversation. I believe I deserve more is a personal statement. Current market data for this role, at this experience level, in this industry, shows a range between X and Y. My compensation sits below that range, and I would like to discuss alignment is a market statement. One invites a sympathetic response. The other requires a substantive one. The difference is not assertiveness, it is precision. Move 3. Set a personal compensation review trigger and act on it. Decide in advance. If a genuine external offer arrives that exceeds your current compensation by more than 15%, you will negotiate seriously, either with the external organization or with your current one. Not emotionally, not impulsively, as a pre-committed response to a market signal that the gap has become material. Organizations respond to credible leverage, The trigger makes the leverage credible to them and to you. The market is always pricing you. The only question is whether you are listening. Most people were taught that loyalty is a virtue. In most areas of life, that teaching is correct. Inside a compensation system, loyalty without leverage is simply a subsidy, a transfer of value from the employee to the organization, ongoing, invisible, and entirely voluntary. It does not make you a bad person to recognize that. It makes you someone who understands the full terms of the arrangement they are in. The people who build financial security over a career are not the ones who work the hardest inside a single organization. They are the ones who understood that the market rewards movement, that anchors compound, and that the system responds to signals, not to years of quiet, unrewarded commitment. You are not a trader for understanding how the system works. You are simply someone who finally read the full contract. Loyalty is admirable. Loyalty that costs you 6 figures over a career and asks nothing in return is just an expensive habit. Drop a comment below. Tell me honestly, how long has it been since you last checked what the market would actually pay you today? One number. That is all I need to see. I'm Jackson. I'll see you in the next video.